All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome in. It is some Detroit sports talk here on the Fifth Chapter. I like it as we get ready to roll. Is presented to you like it always is by CashToBitcoin.com. Joined by Adrian Myers. You see him there on the screen. Adrian, what's going on?
Not much ready to talk some sports today. We got some interesting topics today that I'm ready to dive into.
You tell me. Is that somebody's phone that goes off right when the show starts, or is that a little sounder that's Rob puts on there to kind of get
That
us
was
going?
definitely that happened to just be me as a coincidence.
I think it happened last time like that. The same thing.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what, and that's what I thought. It was just a coincidence that
yeah,
it was
yeah,
a
absolutely.
phone, but it happened last time. So then I'm thinking, well, maybe Rob's putting in a sounder, which would be weird, but I don't
Yeah,
know. So
I guess I
I
timed it perfect.
I like it. I'm fired up about the Thursday night football. It's not very often that you get the Thursday to kick off the week, the best game of the week, but
Oh
that's
yeah, oh yeah.
exactly what it looks like right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it does, definitely does. I was looking at the schedule. I'm like, wow, they gave us the best one of the year so far, like on paper. So I'm excited.
We're going to talk about that. We already see Paul coming in halfway through the college hockey season. He's saying go blue. He could be saying it for a number of different reasons, but we will talk about 5 different things going on, the 5 chapters, and they are presented by CashToBitcoin.com. And you're like me, you're like Adrian. You've thought a lot about it, and you want to know how to get involved in cryptocurrency. Now I'm here to tell you how to do it. You go to cashtobitcoin.com. There's lots to be excited about, like Chargers and Chiefs here tonight, and crypto. Bring down that music a little bit. Did you know that cashtobitcoin.com is the official cryptocurrency of the Detroit Red Wings? That's right. And cashtobitcoin.com is one of the fastest and largest growing crypto ATMs in Michigan. They have hundreds of locations in Michigan and beyond. Check out a map to find out a crypto ATM near you at cashtobitcoin.com on Twitter. That's cash, the number 2, bitcoin.com. Cashtobitcoin.com's ATMs and terminals offer safe and secure transactions. So get it going. Find an ATM. Now is the time. Remember it, use it. It's cashtobitcoin.com.
Now, chapter 1, Dennis. We're gonna talk about National Signing Day in college football, and let's be clear, this is the early signing day period. Notoriously, most recruits have happened to sign during this time of period, so December 15th, and then you still have the regular signing day, which is the first Wednesday in February. But Michigan was looking good, so Dennis, you give me your thoughts or whatever you want to go to on this topic.
Yeah, well, there are a couple of things. Nationally, the big thing was Deion Sanders ripping the number 1 player in the country away from Florida State. I mean, that was amazing. You get him to go to Jackson State. You know how that went down. I never thought you'd see anything like that, especially with the number 1 overall player like that. So that was pretty amazing. But I spend most of my attention when it comes to college football watching the 2 teams right here in the states, Michigan and Michigan State. I'll start with Michigan State, and the way Mel Tucker last year went to the portal, and then the success that they had, having a top 25 recruiting class, they come out there, they lost a 5-star, they lost another guy that they wanted, but they got 4 guys via the portal where if you looked at their background, they're pretty highly rated. They don't blend those things in, but if they did, Michigan State would be a lot higher when it comes to those rankings. So I think Michigan State fans should be really happy about. Of course, they're happy about what happened this season. They are excited about the offseason and next season, and Mel Tucker's done a good job here on signing day. Meanwhile, Michigan, they've always had a lot to offer. They got the big brand, right, Adrian?
Yeah, at the
And
big block M. Yep.
but they didn't have they weren't able to walk into a room, Adrian, and go like this with a ring on there and just say, hey, that's what you get if you come to Michigan. And now they could do that, and they were able to. They kept their staff together. And they won the Big Ten. They beat Ohio State, and they finished hot, man. They grabbed some big time players. They flipped a few players, and they came out and they ended up with the top 10 class at number 8 with rivals. And it was outstanding year on the football field, outstanding national signing day for Michigan. And they're not done, as you mentioned. They can pick up more and hit the portal if they need something, but obviously an up arrow next to the Wolverines with everything, and that includes National Signing Day yesterday.
Yeah, I follow recruiting big time. It's a big kind of obsession for me a little bit because I just like to keep track of the college football world and with the transfer portal and the coaching carousel. It can become overwhelming, but Mel Tucker's second recruiting class, according to 24/7 Sports, is usually what I go off of. Michigan State 21st, which is not bad. They took in 4 transfers, 2 from the SEC. They got a running back from Wisconsin, Berger, who's transferring there. So is looking to replace Kenneth Walker. But Mel Tucker's doing a great, phenomenal job, I think. They got a quarterback from California. They're doing really well. A couple good in-state guys. I think Michigan State's on the uptick in recruiting, so they're going to only get better and improve, especially defensively. So the Spartans are looking good. But as for our Michigan Wolverines, Dennis, right now, according to 24/7, they are ranked 9th. They have 23 total commits, 2 4-star safeties, 1 from the state of California, a 4-star receiver who they got from the state of Oregon, who actually is from Michigan. He lived there till he was 10 years old. A DN from Maryland. I won't get into names. Signed a couple quarterbacks. Just add some depth on there. But like you said, Jim Harbaugh can go in the living rooms now and tell them that they finally won the Big Ten, but they're also looking for it to continually improve and try to win a national championship. So with that being said, the momentum carries over, especially after beating Ohio State. So I knew, therefore, that the recruiting would improve. And the thing is, Dennis, and to like all the college football fans, to win a national championship, you continually have to try to have a top 10 recruiting class, like notoriously, because you got the Bamas, you got the Georgias, you got the Ohio States. Texas A&M has done a phenomenal job in recruiting. It seems like they got like 40 guys to their class, and they're number 1 right now. But you need to be able to compete with those teams. So recruiting is the lifeblood of college football. So if Michigan continues to do well, and then you get the players and develop them, then you will have the ability to contend not only for a Big Ten title, but the ability to stay with the big boys in the SEC and all over the country. So far, so good. Let's get them in and get developed. But I like what I'm seeing so far. So
I like it. Well, let's get to chapter 2, and that gets us to the Pistons. And we have talked about this, and we talked about actually what the return could be. But there was a report over the last 24 hours. It was from Bleacher Report that cites league sources saying that the Pistons are focused on trading Jerami Grant, and he has a contract next year, would be, the final of his 3-year deal that he signed with the Pistons. But Pistons looking to move him before the February 10th, I think, trading deadline. Right. So what do you think? We've talked about the different players and different movement here. What can you expect if you're a Pistons fan when you're talking about Jerami Grant?
I can't expect them at this point now. I think they don't really have a choice is to move Jerami Grant. Now, they signed him to a 3-year, $60 million year last year. He's in the second year of his deal. So he's only owed $20 million roughly over the next 2 years, this season and next season. So that's an affordable contract that your teams will trade for. The Pistons definitely are going to have to make a move because, like I said, Jerami Grant cannot be your second best player behind Cade and have the ability to win a championship. Now, what I think they need to do is try to go get an established young player. Maybe not a superstar, but a really good player. So maybe you look at a New Orleans Pelicans. Maybe you look at a Portland Trail Blazers, Philadelphia. Not Ben Simmons, by the way. I like Tyrese Maxey a lot better. Maybe to go along off the combo guard. See if the Warriors maybe might be interested. The San Antonio Spurs have some good young players. There's a lot of routes they can really go with this one, but I think you have to find a way to get rid of Jerami Grant somehow, some way. But he will be gone before or by February 10th. I can book that. Maybe look at Sacramento, maybe from Bagley and Buddy Hield, because I heard Sacramento's interested in trading them for a package. So would they do it? The Kings are dumb enough. As we know, their front office has been historically bad over the past 15 to 20 years. So there's a lot of leeway Pistons can go. So I'm going to trust Troy Weaver to make the best decision possible.
Yeah, well, the first thing you think is, okay, you'd like the Pistons to get a young player, as you mentioned, and a pick. And, so that sounds pretty good. And that might be easier said than done because, the pick, you're setting them to a team that's going to be in the playoffs. So it's going to be a late pick. You're not talking about getting a lottery selection. And as you mentioned, the player then will be key. You wonder, though, as you talk about it and you're looking at teams that are looking to shed some salary, the Pistons have the ability there. Maybe they could take on a bad contract if what they're getting in return are some future picks down the line here. So that would be another thing to keep an eye on. Here's Beth, who is in already on some of the deals and what she's hearing. Bol has drawn some interest as well as Wiseman. Now, Bol is the kind of player you're talking about, young player you haven't seen a whole lot of. And then Wiseman, was he the number 2 or 3 pick, overall just last year? I mean, this is what we're
Number
talking
2.
about. Number
Yep.
2.
Yep.
So, but Golden State, obviously what they're doing now, Grant would be a nice player to mix in there with the Warriors. You could see him fitting in really well, mostly just coming off the bench. Would they do Wiseman? That would be, to me, that seems like a dream scenario.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Another team to look at real quick would probably be the Atlanta Hawks. They have a lot of young players on their roster, and they could give you a pick or two. So that's something to look at too. But I just don't know what direction Troy Weaver's heading in. So we'll see, Dennis. But some changes need to be made in this organization because it's been a complete disaster this year. Besides Cade actually playing well.
Well, it was a complete disaster. It was Tuesday when I was like, yeah, the Pistons play tonight against the Bulls. You're like, not so fast. I'm like, well, I'm looking up at my calendar. I'm like, I wrote it in by hand, so I have screwed it up before. So I'm hesitant to say that the Pistons are playing tonight, so I'm checking it out. Although it says that, the game is on, so maybe they are playing. But
yeah, Dwayne Casey's out with a non-COVID illness, but they're playing tonight against Indiana. So they could be a team on the shakeup as well because they're looking to make some moves also. So we'll see. I'm excited though.
Yeah, we'll get to some NFL, but if you watched any of ESPN today, you just watch the scroll. It's like Lockett, COVID issue, COVID issue. It's like, why don't they run the guys that don't have COVID issues?
What are we gonna do? Yeah, at this point, just tell us who's in, so we have an idea.
It is wreaking havoc, to say it mildly, here with the NFL, and we see it in the NBA and everything else. Absolutely. All right, there it is. Pistons. We'll see. They've got, like I said, till February 10th to see if they can get what we're talking about for Jerami Grant. That gets us to the third chapter as we turn the page, and this. I don't know if it's a big surprise to you or not, Adrian, but Urban Meyer is out. There are a bunch of situations and issues that he's had all year long, but this latest one where he kicked the kicker seems to be the one, the tipping point there for the owner. What did you make of Urban Meyer's stay in the NFL? What do you think his future holds as a coach, either in the pros or college?
First off, let's get to what I think. For one, it's about time. I'm surprised that it took 13 games to realize that this guy was not the coach, not the right guy for this Jacksonville Jaguars situation. Let's get this straight. He comes into the Jaguars and they're already dysfunctional. He leaves them even more dysfunctional. Can you believe that? We got an incident. I got a few incidents. We got the incident with bringing Tim Tebow in, having him play tight end. Dennis, the man's never played tight end. He was never a good quarterback in the first place. You have the situation with the strength and conditioning coach who was accused of being racist and a discrimination. And you also got the situation with not flying back when coaches normally fly back with the team. You got criticizing coaches and players. You also got taking James Robinson out after one fumble and never putting him back in the game for a guy who you coached at Ohio State. And finally, the last straw was obviously kicking Josh Lambo, which is the most disrespectful thing you can do. But real quick, let's just say this. Urban Meyer is not a good coach and he's not a good person. So with that being said, when you get to the NFL, it becomes more about coaching, and he got exposed. In college, you can recruit, and most of the time your talent's going to out-succeed the other teams. So that's one, and you have to earn the respect of guys. These guys make millions of dollars like you do, if not more. You gotta talk to them, not at them, and you have to gain their respect and their trust. And once that's gone, it's gone. And so he lost Trevor Lawrence's respect. He lost the league's respect. And did you see the way he shook Mike Vrabel's hand last week? It's just like he doesn't want to be there. So good riddance to him. The thing is, when you make a mistake, own up to it and just move on from it. And that's what Jacksonville has to do right here, because this was a complete and utter debacle and disaster. And I'm so happy for this organization that they finally realized that. Good riddance to Urban Meyer. And I don't think he should ever coach again.
Well, it was a debacle. I'll give you that. And he came in. You're right. That strength and conditioning coach who pretty much took the brunt of with the Iowa Hawkeyes, where they just said, yeah, they had racial issues and everything, and they all pretty much like, it's this guy, and that was his first hire. That should have been a sign here. One thing I disagree. I think he's a good coach. It's a different ball game. You're right. Coaching the pros from college, he came in and was like, and this happens. And they had so much success. He's like, I'm the smartest guy in the room. I've got all these different things I'm going to try. Everything's backfiring. He's not used to losing games. Next thing you know, he's got a girl sitting in his lap, and and all these different things and the distractions. And I don't know if his head got too big or whatever else, but he's never going to coach in the pros again. I'm pretty sure of that. But college, college is, it's only going to take. He's used, I don't know, these health issues. I don't know if it's heart, his head, or anything else, but. Can you do a couple different interviews and I don't know, like I'll make something up. I could just say, I was having trouble with my wife at home and, I had some anger issues. I went through it. There could be a number of things. I was maybe, drinking a little bit. I don't know. Like, you say some of that. People do give people and coaches second and third chances if they go out and they come out and they speak from the heart and say what it is. Now, if he gets on there and says, these guys are all full of crap, I'm the greatest, well, then maybe not. But I think that there will be a landing spot for him in college football. He just needs to have a little bit of a mea culpa. Here's Penn State Pete, who's back after finals in the mix here. Pete, you've seen Urban Meyer over the years, admiring him as a youngster. Now you're, an underclassman at Penn State. How's your views here of Urban Meyer now that he's not a head coach in the NFL anymore?
I mean, coaching Ohio State, I never liked Urban Meyer, also just as a person in general. But now that he hasn't even been a year coaching the Jaguars, and he's already had more issues than most coaches have throughout their whole career. I mean, you mentioned James Robinson not playing. I mean, that all started when they drafted Travis Etienne in the first round. I mean, that was complete waste of a pick. I know that's probably not all on Urban Meyer, but still, that's a terrible start to all this. And then there was just recently, either this past weekend or the weekend before, when the reporter was asking him about playing time with his rookie safety, and he said like something about him getting more playing time. Meanwhile, the guy didn't play a single snap that entire game. And I mean, it's good for the Jaguars getting rid of him. I mean, it was just terrible seeing him week in, week out, just not have any idea what he's doing and not wanting to be there.
Yeah, to Beth's point, she mentioned Nick Saban, how it didn't work out in Miami. There are a lot of really good, and in Saban's case, great college coaches that have gone on to the pros and it didn't work out. Then they went back to college, but they didn't have the issues in the first year. I mean, that's the thing. Like,
right.
I don't think anybody was expecting the Jags to win 8 games or anything this year.
No.
You can go out there and lose ball games, but you just can't act a fool like he was every time you're turning around. You know what? It was like, this is what happened when the girl was in his lap. There were a lot of people saying he's doing this on purpose. And, how could you, if somebody really wanted to make an argument that he was doing this on purpose and just trying to get fired, collect his severance pay, he just gave it a shot, didn't like it. So then he decided he was going to try to get fired. I could buy that argument.
With all the stuff that's been going on, honestly, I wouldn't doubt that. And, another thing with them too is the fact that the Jaguars had the number 1 draft pick. They took Trevor Lawrence, who was, the highest rated draft pick and however long. And I've pretty much forgotten that he's even a player. Like, he's just become irrelevant.
That's what Jacksonville will do to you. Like I said, I'm just mind blown at the fact that they were already dysfunctional, just like the Lions or Cleveland. And now he leaves them worse than what he had them when he inherited them. So these 6 months have been nothing but a debacle for the organization. So now I think it's an utter importance that the Jacksonville Jaguars bring a coach in that can develop Trevor Lawrence and get him to his full potential and actually get the culture set in the right position. So I know we talk a lot of trash about Dan Campbell, but that guy's a try-hard guy, and he actually is trying to bring good culture to the Lions. And like this guy, Urban Meyer, who feels like he tried to set them up for failure and was just a disappointment, and his body language is just so terrible. Like, he knew what he was getting himself into, and I could agree with Dennis. Maybe he set himself up fair and said, "Hey, I'm done after 3 games." But NFL is not an easy man's game, and he should have known that. It's not college football, and he can't control these guys and have complete ultimate power. This is a respect thing. So he's learned the hard way, and so for that, I think he deserves to, like I said, to be out of there and good. And I hope the Jacksonville Jaguars do a great job at finding a coach that's actually going to help them and propel them to do better.
Well, I wonder if Penn State Pick'em Pete is going to have Jacksonville involved in the Pick'em coming up in the 5th chapter. But before we get to the 5th chapter, we get to the 4th chapter. But before we get to the 4th chapter, I want to thank our presenting sponsor. That is cashtobitcoin.com.
All right, let's turn the page Gentlemen, chapter 4, we have Thursday night football. This might be, and I'm probably going to say this right, the best game of the season on Thursday night football. Hoping, I don't know about the COVID listing. I know it's been complicated, Pete. I was telling Dennis that, but on paper, this looks like the best game. We got the Chiefs at the Chargers. The Chiefs are -3. So, Pete, I'm going to let you start off.
Well, the Chiefs started out kind of rough. The Chargers had their number the first matchup, but ever since, I think right around the time they traded for Melvin Ingram, they kind of turned it around. Their defense has been a lot better. There's still been a little bit of trouble with Mahomes' interceptions. A lot of them, Tyreek Hill not being able to grab the ball, tip drill interceptions. But other than that, the Chiefs have really turned it around. And honestly, these two quarterbacks, if I had to start a franchise right now, everybody's off their current teams. If I had to start a franchise right now, it would be one of these two guys, Herbert or Mahomes. Both young, both incredibly talented. I'm really excited for tonight's game.
Those are some good points. The thing that I look at tonight is that all the attention is always with the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and the high-octane offense and Andy Reid running it, everything. But that defense, the Honey Badger's been playing great in the back end, but really the solidifier is the big man up front, Chris Jones, and he's not playing tonight. He's not going to be in there, so that's a huge hit here for the Chiefs. I really think that this evens up the game a lot. And then you look at the other side, another fantastic defender is Derwin James, the safety. Ooh, look at that hit.
Wow.
The safety there for the Lightning Bolts, and he is going to be in the game tonight. So just on the from the injury standpoint and who's in and who's out, I like where the Chiefs are at. They're at home in that Matt Stafford's stadium. And so, I'm leaning towards the Lightning Bolts here, but I understand, that people like the Chiefs, and it's hard to pick against the Chiefs. But I just think how the injuries play out tonight, it looks and favors LA, even though the point spread was 3.5, it's down to 3.
For me, this has been a tough going back and forth with this all day, but I'm going to trust and I'm going to ride with the confidence of Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, riding a 6-game winning streak right now. They haven't lost since they got embarrassed by Tennessee Titans and Pat got knocked out with a concussion. And for the fact that means that the Chiefs already lost to the Chargers at home earlier in the season, so this is a must-win for them. And if they lose this game, the Chargers will take complete and utter control of this division, already beating the Chiefs twice. So that'll basically put them up 2 games pretty much. So I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes. The defense has the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL, over these last 6 games. And I think it will continue even without Chris Jones. They added Melvin Ingram. I love Justin Herbert. And if I had to start a franchise, Pete, it would be with Justin Herbert. But I think the Chiefs can, and I think the Chiefs will confuse Justin because he struggled with that during the season against the Patriots against some of the more elite defenses. And I think the Chargers, their defense is mediocre besides Derwin James, who is a stud. So I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes is going to have a big game tonight. The Chiefs are going to win. Yeah, and Bosa. Oh, yeah, and Bosa as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm sorry, I forgot Bosa. But I expect Patrick Mahomes to have a big game tonight as he has something to prove.
It's a good point. And, it just reminds me that the Lions, I know there were a couple other teams as well, but, they had a chance to draft Justin Herbert last year and let him slip through their fingers. All right, guys, I am not going to be here for the 5th chapter. I have given Pete my secret selections underneath the table, and I'll allow you guys to take it the rest of the way. So enjoy it, and have a great weekend, and I will talk to you guys on Tuesday.
All right, Dennis, have a good one.
Rob, you want to hop in for the picks?
Let's get it, Banger.
Well, we'll see if he hops in or not. So good trend. There he is.
I'm here, baby. What up?
Right. Quick transition from chapter 4. We're going to go right into it. First pick is the Chiefs and the Chargers. Thursday night football. I can't wait. Hour till this game. Chiefs -3, as Dennis said. And Adrian, why don't you start off?
I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Chiefs rolling into this SoFi and getting it up and covering the -3. Give me Chiefs and Pat Mahomes.
Let's see.
What do you got, Rob?
Oh, give me the Chiefs and Mahomes. By the way, were we echoing there? I was a little worried there. Oh,
not here, no.
Thank God. All right, go ahead. I got the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is a beast. I don't know about Justin Herbert. He's not that great in my opinion, but hey, what are you gonna do?
You're wrong on that one, but we'll
We'll
finish
on
that.
that one.
We'll finish that conversation for another day.
For
All right, so I got the Chiefs as well, and I know Dennis. Before the show, he told me his picks. He took the Chargers on this one.
Okay.
So he liked them money line. So 3-1. We'll see. Next up, we do have the Texans at the Jacksonville Jaguars, no longer coached by Urban Meyer. Jaguars are holding -3.5. Texans beat them earlier in the year. So, Adrian, what do you got?
Give me Davis Mills and the Houston Texans continue to show the Jaguars dysfunction this year. I think they'll play better, and it'll be a close one. Give me Texans money line.
All right, Rob, what do you got?
He just took the Texans
over the Jaguars. Yeah.
You got to think Darren Rovell is gonna win. Darren Bevel is gonna win one game, bro. There's my right camera. You got to think about it like this. He won a game with the Lions. He's an inspirational figure. You got to give him. I give Jags are gonna win this one. They're gonna be coming off that Urban Meyer. It's gonna be like with John Gruden in Oakland. They're gonna do this.
You got Jags.
Okay.
You got the Jags to cover all the 3.5 points.
Of course.
All right. Dennis agreed with you, Rob. He had the Jags. However, I'm siding with Adrian on this one. I'm taking the Texans.
Great call.
Davis Mills. These two teams are pretty much bottom of the barrel, so nothing too interesting here. I'm not going to watch it. I'll just look at the final score. Moving on, we got the Lions finally. We haven't mentioned them at all. Cardinals at Lions, 1:00 game. Arizona's -12.5. Last week it was Broncos -10, and I was like, that's way too much. But of course, ended up being way more than that. So keep that in consideration. Rob, you can start off with this one.
Let's hope that didn't just screw up. Well, dude, the Lions are not going to win. The Cardinals, I actually went on FanDuel and I bet heavily on the over-unders with the Cardinals getting all the dominant, like the most touchdowns, the most points, yada, yada, yada. It's going to be a blowout for the Cardinals.
One note is there's no DeAndre Hopkins for the Cardinals this week, or the rest of the regular season for that.
MCL surgery on his knee.
Right.
Yeah, but they have Kyler Murray. That's all that matters.
Oh, that's true. I mean, they're still going to win the game, no doubt. But yeah. All right, Adrian, what you got for the pick?
12.5. That's not a lot of points for the Cardinals going against the Lions. So Kyler Murray will have a bounce back game, as that they play tough and hard against the Rams, but they will come out with some vengeance and put all their muscle on the line. So give me the Cardinals and the money and the points. All
right, I got the Cardinals too. Dennis took the Lions to cover.
Of course he did.
Yeah. So that's one additional loss for him on the overall rankings. I'll mark it down right now.
I'm marking that.
Game number 4, we got Packers. We got the Ravens. Lamar is questionable right now. So it's Packers -5.5. If Lamar doesn't play, I would hammer that. But you know what? Adrian, you start us off.
All right. We don't know the status of Lamar Jackson. Even with that being said, you give me the Packers and the points. Aaron Rodgers is going to destroy this secondary who's been dismantled by injuries. They're going to do this, the blitz, the cover zero, and Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams are going to just dominate this game. So give me the Packers to roll big.
All right. What you got, Rob?
I'm going to go with the Packers too. I mean, you got to think about it, that Aaron Rodgers is just on a roll and having another great season coming back from having COVID in his toe. I keep trying to do two things at once. This is so hard.
Yeah, you know, Aaron Rodgers is having another MVP-like season. Lamar, even if he does play, he's been kind of on a steady decline right now. So give me the Packers. 5.5 points is not that much.
Oh my God, it worked. Let's go. Absolutely. I can't stop trying to produce while being on camera. This is so weird. Go ahead, continue.
Oh, we got the last game here. We got Sunday Night Football. Saints and Tampa Bay. Of course, Saints have beaten Tampa Bay the last 3 times in the regular season, meaning Tom Brady has not beaten New Orleans in the regular season while being a Buccaneer. They did beat him in the playoffs last year, and now we got Taysom Hill starting at quarterback. So that being said, Tampa Bay is holding -11 points. Adrian, you can start us off for the last one.
Well, Tom Brady and Tampa's been on the road. Like you said, they haven't beat the Saints. I know we talk a lot about Taysom Hill and the Saints offense, but the Saints defense is still loaded and they're still really, really good. So they found a formula to contain Tom Brady. But I'm gonna take Tampa, but they're not gonna cover the 11 points. That's just way too many points in this divisional game, which is always played pretty tough between these two teams, even before Brady arrived.
Absolutely. All right, Rob, what do you got?
Dude, I was not paying attention. I'm sorry. I just fucked up. Hey,
We got it's Saints at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay.
yeah, give me Tampa Bay. I mean, they are on such a roll, and the Saints are kind of a dumpster fire. Jameis is out still, right?
Jameis is done for the season.
Yeah, it's devastating. Well, who's going to carry them?
Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill.
Absolutely.
Man.
Yeah, you know what? I took the Saints on this one, not to win or anything, but to at least cover. Dennis took the Saints too. Also, I don't know if I mentioned it from the last one, but Dennis also took the Packers. But yeah, Rob, I don't know if you want to throw up the standings I sent you.
Of course.
Updated from last week. Those are the old standings actually. Those are last week's, the updated ones. I'll read them out right here real quick before.
Sorry about that, bro.
That's all good. Before we end this, I'll read it out. It's still the same positions, but it's a lot closer. I'm in third, 16 and 19. Adrian, you're 17 and 18, and Dennis is 18 and 17.
Shoot,
so
game up.
It's pretty close right now. This week could some standings could change.
It's gonna be the survival of the fittest. I gotta get some separation.
Absolutely. Adrian, you want to close out the show?
Yeah, everybody, thanks for tuning in and listening. Do not forget to subscribe to all our social media channels. It's gonna be a great weekend, fellas, for sports. Tell a friend to check out our podcast. And you heard it first here. Hey, it's Adrian. I'm out. Pete, he's out of there. So everybody, have a good night. Have a great weekend.
Zone.
Let's go. All right, guys. Have a good night.